What up? Well, not the world, like, probably one person who's looking at the first 3 seconds of this. Oh, but once I die, this whole thing is gonna take like a different turn, you know? Like, I've had like a couple of friends who are dead, didn't really give a fuck about who they were, you know? But then they fucking died, and like, holy shit, their Facebook profiles are is just an online graveyard, you know? So yeah, maybe should call this channel an online graveyard because it is going to be one at some point, right? Who escapes death? Nobody. Like everybody wants immortality and shit like that. Nobody escapes death. Okay, yeah, that's besides the point. So what is this one? The thought was more coherent like a couple of minutes ago. One sec. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck. No. No. Lama Yeshe, fuck you, dude. Why do I make eyes like you, huh? Okay. So, ego, right? The Freudian ego. Many interpretations, many functional uses as well. Hey, you have a huge ego. You are egoistic. Like it's doing something, right? And then there are other interpretations as well. Like some people say, your story, right? The story that we are hallucinating. I am this, whatever this is, but then I can do also do this. I can look into my story, right? The the story that comes identity. So a lot of spiritual metaphysical traditions sort of have a fucking bone to pick with the ego, you know? It's always looked at as something that we have to rid ourselves of in order to reach the ultimate reality, you know? Mm, People sort of get into like these huge trips, like nirvikalpa samadhi, you know, these thoughtless, these egoless trips. It's a trip, like it's valid. All trips are valid, but here is a sort of a negative interpretation of it. First, first premise: desire is absolute, absolute. Like if you interpret ego as I want this, I want that, I don't want that, I want this, a sort of a negotiation of action, negotiation of how the cognition is going to unfold, whatever is in control, you know. this one, and a lot of traditions sort of shy away from the identity, the ego. The there is something. There is like, ego is like a very charged term, because like, let me put it functionally. Here is an egoless statement. Oh, life is tough to comprehend. Ah, how did it feel? It felt a certain way. The statement only, right? And now let me rephrase. Like, just strip some fucking ego into it. You find life tough to comprehend. You. I find life tough to comprehend. Suddenly, the cognition like goes, creates a fluctuation. That's the ego being functional. So instead of looking down on it or looking at it as something to negate, how about a double negation, right? How about we just play with the ego? How to play with the ego? This is so this is like a basic description of our experience, right? And it keeps unfolding. Like it comes. We're in it and we're not in it, right? So when we're in it, how to play with it? When we're not in it, we're not in it. A lot like I've met quite a few older people who are like, oh yeah, the egoless state, the ego death. Like I want to stay there, you know. I want to stay there. The ego is there. Desire is absolute. Desire is absolute. So let me sketch like a. This is like a basic pattern that keeps cycling, right? It's not necessarily a history, it's a reoccurrence. So close your eyes and think about the identity structure, right? Okay, the easiest entry point into this is look at now you must have important people in your lives, right? Everybody does. Now take one of them and stay with them. There's a whole story there. There is a whole history there. Creates one fluctuation. Now take another one. The whole fluctuation is different. Take another one. It is different again. These are like the ups and downs in the narrative structure. Whatever ups and downs means, it's then. You know, and this was like a more of a historical trip, the historical ego, and now look at the ego in the future. Look at the actions that you want to do and you don't want to do, the interactions you want to have and don't want to have. There is one interaction that this goes, "Mm, not don't can't do it because history like this, you know, the narrative structure. Now take that, stay with that, and just change it. What if you want to? It changes again. This the ego, this desire, your entire fucking history is based around desire. A baby is born, doesn't get mom, it fucking cries. Doesn't have a narrative structure or something like that, but it cries. My dog wants food. He gets food, other dog doesn't. Entire life is constructed by desire. And this desire, the history of this desire and the future of this desire is typically what I interpret ego as. And yeah, as you find yourselves going up and down with it, like if you look at the future and the history informs the future, it's going to go a certain way. But since it's just narrative structure, it can be molded. You can just throw things, you know? You can take something and just go. Maybe this is like a longer path, you know? It's a longer path in the sense that this whole identity trip can understand it deeply. Deeply, from like the most mundane to the deepest, you know? From like just you wanting to look at someone and you not looking to deeply falling in love, you know? That's all desire. Need to craft a technique, like, need to go through this as it fluctuates in form and unfolds, you know? The contracted form. Need to understand the complete nature of contracted form. Otherwise, what the fuck does the expanded form mean, right? Yeah, dude. No, I don't know, dude. I'm a big fan of the ego. When is it not present? Ego death is like a cool trip, but that comes and goes. It's learning how to construct the ego more than just denying it or rejecting it. Constructing it to take you somewhere, you know, and it is possible. Like people talk about like anxiety and shit, it's typically because you're like fucking thinking about something that makes you anxious, like oh, job tomorrow or that person again, you know, but you can play with it. A narrative structure, it is a tiny fucking thing. You can play with it. It is not absolute. It is not absolute. Desire is absolute. So if you want to play with it, you will play with it, you know? What are these trips, bro? What are these fucking trips? Yeah, definitely going to call this channel Online Graveyard from now onwards. It's it's the prophecy I can make with the utmost certainty.